Hey, it's Chelsea. This is my second video, and I said that I would talk about, I'd go more into detail about bipolar disorder, and I guess I want to start with my own experience because I know more about that, honestly. Um, so, um, I guess it, I mean, I've always felt kind of weird. Like, not weird, but, um, like, I always felt like kind of I had really bad mood swings. And I felt like even when I was a teenager, I was like, gosh, like, it's every teenager like this? Because I would just get like super mad if someone said something to me. Like, I don't know, I could like freak out like on my family or something for like no reason sometimes. Um, and then I guess like when I graduated high school, I felt kind of better because I kind of hated high school and I kind of didn't like anybody because high school's kind of bullshit. Um, not to say like I just mean the whole dynamic. Like it's good to go to school, but I mean the whole clique thing and the popularity or whatever. Like the I don't know. It's not a good environment if you're trying to develop emotionally for some people. Um, well, for most people. But when I was in college, when I began college, I was actually really happy because I don't know, I was doing what I thought I was meant to do. I was going to college for I was I want to be still an art therapist for troubled youth or like little kids because I think little kids are super cool and they do really cool art, and a lot of them need help before they get like to be a bitter ass adult. So, and plus, like, I always wanted someone to be there for me when I needed someone when I was young. So, I want to be that for someone one day. Um, so I was going to college and I feel like everything was kind of fine. Um, I just felt good in my own skin finally. Um, I was actually I feel like I was kind of a shittier person back then because, I mean, I had been through stuff. Like, I was homeless and stuff before, like, my family and I. But then, like, when I moved here, I guess I kind of, like, started taking that for granted. Like, I mean, not homelessness, but, like, my life got better, so I forgot what it was like to be, in a rough spot. So I think I got a little reminder. So, um, everything was kind of going good, and then, um, and I always had some sort of anxiety. That's why I didn't like attend high school a lot because I didn't want to be around people. Like I kind of like just had like this whole anxiety around people, like talking to new people or being around people because I thought they were gonna say mean stuff or whatever. And a lot of it was like illogical, like, like not everybody's gonna hate you, not everybody's looking at you, like calm down, but anxiety is just like that, So, but I didn't know at the time that I had these things. I just kind of suspected something was wrong with me. Um, then my dad, um, he he had like a heart attack and died in my garage, and then they brought him back to life. um and it's kind of intense to see the life being taken out of someone and then see the soul enter the body once again. It's kind of a very traumatic thing. Seeing death is traumatic in of itself, but then you know seeing them come back to life is kind of a little bit than more intense than, yeah. So I kind of got a little more fucked up after that, for lack of a better word. Um, I couldn't really handle anything. Like I mean, I was doing good in college before, even despite like my social anxieties or whatever anxieties, like around college or whatever, like not doing good. So then like I started like to kind of like deteriorate mentally. Like I um I I just was in a terrible like relationship at the time. I started having like really bad panic attacks, like, or I mean anxiety attacks. I mean I'd go on the bus to school, and then I would have to turn right back around and go all the way home because I'd like start hyperventilating because I couldn't take it. So then like I mean there was a lot of other issues. So then I started seeing a counselor, um and we talked about it, and she diagnosed me with anxiety disorder, and it like confirmed everything that, I thought, and I felt better, but I don't know, like it kind of sucked at the same time. And then I was kind of doing bad things at the time, like unhealthy things, like I smoked a lot of weed, and it kind of exacerbated the anxiety for me. Um and and then I was kind of like, my relationship that I was in at the time was kind of emotionally abusive because I was going through all these things, and he would be telling me, like, oh, you're crazy and you're never going to get better and this and that. So it was kind of like borderline emotional abuse, if not emotional abuse, because like I just wanted someone to tell me like, oh, like you're going to be okay one day, like you're going to make it because you're awesome or something, like I just wanted like a cheerleader, not a negative asshole like standing next to me, making it worse all the time. So, um, I remember when I was young, I was like 13, and I was diagnosed like with depression, and they put me on Zoloft, and that's quite like young, to be on Zoloft and stuff. But I remember like I remember just like, gosh, I don't want to take these pills. I want to try to be happy on my own. But at the time, I didn't know that I had like an imbalance in my brain. I thought it was just like, oh, I've been through a lot of shit, and so like I'm just kind of in a bad spot right now. But in all actuality, I probably should have been treated for depression for a long time. Cuz I was at the time pretty like, I would have a lot of suicidal thoughts, and and it was weird cuz during the time like when I was that age, it was like, oh, like it was almost like a fad to be like it was because like the whole emo thing or whatever, like it was like almost a fad to be depressed. But I was like actually super sad all the time. And then um and then when I was in college, like after my dad like had a heart attack and stuff, um it was like spring of 2012, and I instead of like thinking about suicide, I I kind of attempted it. And I only say kind of because I have like this, I have a hard time like validating my own feelings and like life. And especially when I'm like kind of ashamed of what I've done, I kind of don't, I kind of make it lesser than it actually is. So I did attempt suicide by trying to drown myself in the river. It didn't work out, obviously. Um, because the water was super cold, and I kind of like kept flopping back um onto the shore or bank or whatever. And then uh my mom and my friend were looking for me, and I was walking back, and I knew I was sick because when I was, you know, sitting by the riverbank, I was like smiling because I knew that I would feel better. And a lot of people say suicide is the easy way out, and I'm kind of on the fence about that statement because at the same time, like, it takes a lot of guts to actually go through with like killing yourself, but it's also very, and and they're not thinking about anybody else when, people try to commit suicide. They're not thinking about anybody else. They're thinking about the pain that they feel, and they want it to stop. And that's exactly what I was feeling. I wanted everything to stop. I didn't care about anybody else. I just cared about myself and how I felt, and that I didn't want to feel like I was trapped in my own body anymore, in my brain. I didn't want to feel like that. So I tried, and it didn't work, and my friend and my mom were looking for me, and I hurt them a lot, obviously. I mean, my mom was like, "You're sick, you need to go to the hospital," and I told her to, like, F off, like, I'm not going to the hospital, I'm fine. And, because I was, like, I wasn't underage anymore. I think I was, like, 21 or 20, I don't know. Anyway, something like that. And so, I mean, I had a choice in the matter, unless I was, like, hurting people, and I never had. So, and I disappointed my friend, and I don't know if it put a lot of strain on our relationship or not, but we're not friends anymore. And it wasn't because of that. Like, we stopped being friends, like, this year. There was other things. It was mostly because, like, I was sick of her shit. And, yeah. But I still feel bad that I, like, hurt her and made her sad at one point in time, because she was my friend at one point in time. And I'm sad for my mom, and I'm sad for my brother, and yeah. So I went to counseling and stuff, and then the whole summer was, like, super fun. I mean, I was, like, smoking a lot still, and I went to California, and I met my biological father's, like, parents for the first time. Like, I've never met my biological father. So I just kind of showed up at my grandparents' house. I was like, "Hey, Chelsea here. I am your granddaughter. Don't know if you know. Well, you do, but it's another story." So, and then I went to Seattle, and I was, like, drinking a lot and, like, smoking, and, like, I went to see the person that, like, I was, like, thought I was in love with for a really long time, and I thought things, between us were gonna be, like, I don't know, better, but they weren't. So then I came back home, and I went to church, and I asked, before I went to church, and I'm more spiritual than anything, but I went to church, and I said, "God, I just, like," and I mean, God, universe, whatever, like, I don't know, but, I hope that you speak to me today. Like, I hope that you answer my prayers. I hope that you listen and you talk to me in church. And then when the guy was given, like, when the guy was, like, given his whole speech or whatever, I got, like, head to toe goosebumps because of something he said. I don't remember, because I was, like, kind of, like, already in a bad spot. But I got, like, head to toe goosebumps, and I just got, like, super happy for, like, 3 days after that. I went manic. I just, like, freaking, that was, like, the straw that broke the camel's back. Like, I just exploded into happiness. Like, I thought that, like, the universe was, like, finally, like, on my side, and I drank a lot. I was drinking a lot of whiskey and beer and smoking still a lot, and I wasn't sleeping, and I was, like, riding my bike like a maniac all the time, like, exercising like crazy, and I wasn't eating to, like, I wasn't probably burning any of the calories except for the ones that I was drinking. So, I don't know, I was, like, doing weird stuff, like, trying to throw art parties at my parents' house, and I was, like, bartering for things I wanted, like, in coffee shops. I'm like, "Oh, I don't have enough money, but I'm hungry. What can I get?" Like, it's kind of embarrassing. And then I would, like, talk to random people and did, like, everything and anything that I wanted to do. And then me and my family got in a fight, and I told her that I was going to go to Seattle and, like, run away. But, that didn't happen. And she told me, "You need to go to the hospital, you're sick." And she's like, "You need to get tested." for whatever, like, illness you have. And I'm like, fine, I'll do it if you do, because you're just as crazy. And I was just, like, being a bitch, you know? And then I started, like, going crazy. Like, I thought I was gonna move, and I started, like, packing up all my stuff. And, like, I seriously probably packed up my whole room and brought it up from the basement in, like, an hour. And I was, like, in a bra and leggings, and I didn't give a crap if the neighbors saw me. Like, I was just, like, because I was hot and I was sweating because I was, you know, I was just, like, a beast. And, you know, so, and then my family called the cops, because they thought I was on drugs. And yeah, the cops came, and I guess they told my parents to probably try to get me to the hospital. And then I went to the hospital, like, the ER, and the doctor was like, he thought I was funny and stuff, but he's like, she's very sweet, but, she's sick, and she probably needs to be admitted into a mental hospital. So then I was for 9 days, which was, like, super scary, because, like, I had, like, I was drugged like crazy, because when you go into the hospital first, they want you to be super stable, and to get you super stable at first, they just, like, shove a bunch of pills down your throat, and you get sedated, basically, through pills, so, because they don't want you to hurt yourself or anybody else, which is understandable. So, and then I had a stalker, which made everything kind of worse, and eventually, I mean, he was, like, following me everywhere, and I had to have, like, an escort all the time, and he had to, like, be escorted everywhere, because he'd stand outside my room and stuff, and, like, peek in and be all creepy, and he'd, like, come and sit by me and put his hand on my leg, and I'd be like, get away from me and stuff. And so that was scary. And then, like, I gained 20 pounds in 9 days because of the nasty food that they fed me, and, like, also, like, you weren't allowed outside, so I couldn't really exercise, and, like, the food that they give you is, like, full of sodium, and the antipsychotics they give you are, like, they're notorious for making you overweight. So, I mean, I gained that much quite fast, too fast. And then when I got out, I was, like, I wasn't on the right medications, because, like, my psychiatrist that I had in the hospital moved away, so I had to switch, like, right away. And so, like, but that guy diagnosed me with generalized anxiety disorder, ADD, ADHD, and bipolar 1 disorder. I don't know about the ADD, ADHD part, because I feel like they kind of throw that one around. But I do, when I read about, like, generalized anxiety disorder and bipolar disorder, it does fit. I do resonate. It does resonate with me. So, none of my friends really stuck around. I kind of got abandoned because, as soon as someone says, oh, I'm sick, like, I was in the hospital, like, everybody's like, oh, she's fucking crazy. So, I mean, whatever. So, I only have, like, one of the people that I was friends with back then. Like, all the rest are gone. And it's hard, but, it's life. So, now, I guess I'm still kind of in a rough spot, but not as severe, because I'm being treated, but a lot has happened. My dad died, like, the one that had a heart attack and died and came back to life. Yeah, he died. And then I became homeless again for, like, the second time in my life. And then I had to, like, I had to get put on, like, government aid, like, state aid, because I can't really work, because I'm not super functional all the time. And I'm waiting for disability, because, like, I'm scared that one day when I do have a good job, because the antipsychotics don't guarantee that you are going to be fine for the rest of your life. So, I mean, because I have almost gone manic twice now, and once was last week. Like, I felt like I was going to. So, yeah. So I'm trying to get disability because I feel like I am somewhat disabled, but I'm not gonna live off the government forever. Like I want to go to school, I want to, become an advocate for young people with mental illness, and I want to study psychology and art like I've always dreamed of, and I'm gonna do it. But first, like while I'm in this situation, like I'm kind of lucky because I get to do this thing called self exploration, and I'm young, and a lot of people don't get to do that, and I get to know myself, and I get to take care of myself, like learn how to regulate my like medications and stuff, and like just learn about more about myself. Um, so I just have learned like to be yourself and not hide anything, because once you start hiding it, it gives people like kind of a reason to like not talk about it, or like kind of be scared about it, or like make fun of it or whatever. Um and you got to have compassion. You got to like let people, you just got to be nice to people, because you never know. I always say like someone could be on the brink of suicide, and they could say, "Gosh darn it, like one more thing and I'm just gonna kill myself. Like if someone just frowns at me or gives me a dirty look or says something mean to me, I'm just gonna do it tonight." So I always like smile at people, and I always try to like be very like considerate and compassionate, because you don't know what they're going through on the inside or even on the outside. Like you don't know. So love the people back that love you, and then smile all the time, like laugh all the time. But I laugh all the time, like I'm just kind of like a big goof all the time, and I don't take myself super seriously. Like I joke about being bipolar all the time because I have bipolar disorder, and it doesn't help to be crying about it all the time. And I'm not defined by my illness. Um, I'm not bipolar. I sometimes I slip up and I say that, but I'm not bipolar. I am Chelsea. I like to do art. I like to hike and be in nature. I like to drink tea and stuff. Like those are the things that define me, not being mentally ill. So, my diagnosis is now supposedly are PTSD, ADD, ADHD, bipolar 1 disorder, and generalized anxiety disorder. I don't really know what's like real anymore. Like I I kind of just wish that people would stop saying, "Oh, you're this and that and this and that." Like I just want to be Chelsea, because that's like who I am. But um but I am like I do have like issues sometimes, so I guess they do have to label it sometimes to help me. But I don't know, this was a really long video. I didn't really want it to be that way. But it was a long story. So, yeah, I'll end it now. I will talk about my, next time I'm going to talk about, my diagnoses and what they are actually defined clinically as. And I also want to go into, like, what they are for me, because individually, we're all different. So, anyway, yeah, have a good day, guys. Thank you.